Welcome, Intro to Art students, to the demo for our project number 2, which is the walking map. So the first thing with the walking map you need to do is go for a walk and draw it. You are drawing the path that you are taking on the walk. You're also drawing things or markers or important things that you might see along the walk. Ideally, I would actually be showing this to you while doing a walk, but that makes a much worse demo video and much longer demo video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a walk that I do at least 3 times a week with my son Joshua. And he's the one who leads us on this walk, so this is essentially his walk. Normally I'd sketch with a pencil, but that's harder for you to see, so I'm going to sketch with the pen. This sketch is just a reference sketch, and what that means is you need to put in this sketch words and drawings, like anything that you need to go into the final project. So if you're not sure about it, like do a little sketch of it, like keep going, whatever's gonna work. So in our walk with Joshua, we start off, and again, the orientation doesn't matter, at our little house. And Joshua rides his scooter. It's got 4 wheels, a little handle. He gets going on that scooter. I also make him wear a helmet. There we go. So we go down our driveway, and then he always turns left. It's really funny to me because he has the option to turn right, but he turns left and goes down the sidewalk, and he gets going. It's just a slight bit downhill here, so he goes fast. So I'm gonna write that, fast. And he goes really fast, and then he sort of stops right here because on the other side of the road there's a no parking sign. No parking. And he literally sticks out his hand and he kind of waves at it. And says hello to the no parking sign. And then we keep going and we go around the corner because there's a little intersection here. And then again, I make him stop right here because there's a road, and cars come down this road kind of fast. Apparently that's a turtle car. Okay, I'm gonna make a little note. That's a car, not a turtle. Not turtle. I'm gonna keep this going. And then when I say go, we go, and he gets on the sidewalk over here. And he used to go this way, but recently he's been turning this way. And we say, he kind of does a little divot to bang on a fence and say hello to the dogs. There's 2 dogs, and they sort of have short bodies and round faces, and they bark, 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 bark. And their owner calls them Gert and Ernie. So I'm gonna write that down there. And then when he's done saying hello, we keep going to the next house. I don't know these people, but he also likes their gate. And then we kind of go back into their driveway and we do some loop-de-loops, and he goes into their fence and back to their gate. And recently this is where we've been playing. And so this is, I'm gonna say gate and fence. Fence, I can write. So we've done some loop-de-loops here. And then that's usually about the time where I decide that it's lunchtime and we need to go back home. And so I have to get him back home. And so we kind of, and it's usually like sometimes I have to pick him up to get him in the right direction. So we're going slowly. He's saying hi to Gert and Ernie again. Do, 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 do. Here's me. I've got baby in one arm, well, toddler, and then I'm carrying his scooter. He's kicking and screaming. Unhappy Joshua on the way home because he's been very happy getting to explore. So we go here, and usually about the time that I get here, he's ready to go zoom, 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 zoom again, all the way home. And then we go have lunch. All right, so this is my sketch. It would take longer if I was actually walking this. And ideally, I would stop and like really like look at the scooter, and I can do my drawings anywhere. So if I want to do like a better car, like we get these big giant trucks coming through. And they go zoom, 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 zoom fast. This one's, give it a ladder on the top. This is a working truck. But I can do that. Like I can draw these things kind of anywhere and over the page. Again, this is reference. If I need to flip the page and draw another like more elaborate drawing of Gert and Ernie, that's great. So slow on way back and just make any notes. Again, this project is going to be a lot about motion and pacing, so pay attention to like where are you slow, where are you fast, where do you turn around a lot, where do you stop, things like that, because that's going to matter. Okay, the next step is to start thinking about, I've got all this information, how am I going to make my composition interesting? So again, composition is how you're arranging things within your format. Now, your format is going to be a giant 18 by 24 sheet of watercolor paper. But before we get there, it's always a good idea to play around with the composition or arrangement. So I'm going to make 2 boxes. They're kind of just approximate. And I'm going to pretend like this is my 18 by 24 sheet of paper and this is my information, and somehow I need to take all this and make it fill this space in an interesting way. The line that is your walk is the protagonist for this piece. It should be the most important part of your piece. All these other drawings are going to be secondary to that line that is your walk. And we're not going to have any words. These are just reference points on that original sketch. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to play around with like, okay, how can I'm going to slightly alter this line. It doesn't need to be perfect, but to play with this space in an interesting way. So if I start here and go here, here, but that doesn't leave me, I've got a lot of stuff up here, so I'm actually going to come around to this one. And again, I'd probably be doing this with a pencil. And I can kind of pull it out a little bit more. So the shape of my walk kind of goes like that. And I actually kind of like that. That shape. So then I can think about filling it with dogs. And when you're doing compositional sketches, dogs, it doesn't need to look pretty. What you're just experimenting around is like, what's my placement? I'm gonna have the gate open. Gate open, dogs, dogs, dogs. Here's a sand pit over here that I'm going to add that Joshua really likes to stick his hands in. Boom. So he stuck his hands in that. Here's the stop sign. Here's the no parking. There's not actually a stop sign there. That's just what I always say. Trying to teach him road safety. And then I'm going to change this car to a race car. And that's too big, so I'm actually, I think, I'm gonna make it a little bit, I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller because all my other drawings are small. And not that I want this car to be small, I just don't want it to take priority over the line. Again, the line is the most important thing. So this is parking, no parking, sign. And there's some like bushes over here and some flowers. So I'm just gonna do that. Again, I'm arranging my space. Here's our house. I'm gonna flip how I had the house drawn. And actually, we've got a house. I can make it a little more detailed, but looks like this. We got 2 windows here, and a big window here, and a big window here. A rhododendron bush here, and a rhododendron bush here, and stairs. And then I'm gonna do the scooter going this way. And I mean, I can draw Joshua on the scooter, right? With his little legs just zooming along. His hat, his helmet, his head and helmet. And again, I'm not worried about what the sketches look like. I'm just worried about placement. So if I think I can use the lines to make this line feel fast. And then again, over here, I forgot, I'm gonna kind of really emphasize like him going in circles and then coming in to this gate. So then I'm gonna move the gate over here. So as I look at my composition, one of the things I want to look at is like, okay, where do I have empty space? So I've got empty space over here. Do I want to leave it empty space or do I want to fill it? Feels a little too empty, so I'm going to put the neighborhood cat over here. Cat. Just kind of walking along. And that helps fill this space. I think when I do Joshua, I might flip him around and put him on this side so he's right smack dab in the middle, and I'm gonna make him a little bit bigger because after the line, so again, the line is the most important thing, and we're gonna use line width to really emphasize that, but Joshua is the next most important thing, so I'm gonna put him in the center and make him a little bit bigger, and then that'll help. Got that, and then coming back here, I'm just gonna do that dotted line, and then he kind of goes zoom, and then dotted line, and then he goes zoom, and dotted line. And I'm gonna put, there's 2 little areas that have the yellow dots to help out people with disabilities, and he likes to feel those dots. Put those in, that kind of helps add some interest right there. Is there anything else? There's a little hydrangea that I really like there. So that hydrangea will help balance out the bush and the flowers over here. Okay. One thing I don't like is how tight my house is to the edge of the composition. So what I want to do is make the house smaller because it is less important. It's the starting point. It's fun to put it in. I like our house, but I want to make it smaller, and that'll create, if you notice all around here, I've given a little space between the format, so the edge of the paper, that frame, and where the drawings start. If you're in this kind of composition, we want to include everything in the paper, but we don't want it to feel like it's squished in the paper, and actually making it smaller and moving it over will make it feel less squished because there's space to breathe on the edges, and that's a good thing. Okay, now in an ideal world, it'd actually be good to just like experiment with another. I think I like that, but I'm just gonna experiment, like what happens if I make this horizontal? So we'll put the house here, we go out, we go zoom, 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 and then around this corner and then down this way. And then we've got the loop-de-loops here. So the problem with that is what I could do is I've just got this giant empty space. So all the things that I want up here, I'd have to move over here, which again, you can shift and change things. You can slightly alter. I want you to keep the path of your walk looking somewhat the same, but it doesn't need to be a perfect ratio or perfectly exactly. And it's more fun to keep the things where they are in the walk. So even though this is kind of a fun format, I'm not really sure what I'd do with. I'd have to get really creative or really alter my walk to fill this space, so I'm not going to do that. However, I am glad I tried that. So here we are. So that's how you're going to approach kind of planning out the composition. So when you're planning out a composition, again, this is not about making sketches perfect. This is about thinking about the space that you have and where you want to place things within that space.